3 big panels still ahead, but right now, as you can see on the screen, it's time to take a trip into the world of Spider-Man. Please welcome your host, Agent M.
Hello! Hello, 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 hello! Hi. How's everybody doing? Excellent. I am Agent M, but I'm not the star of the show. Spider-Man and the people who make Spider-Man are the stars, so let's bring them on in. Bill Roseman, creative director. Brian Tahar from Insomniac. John Paquette from Insomniac.
Writer.
And, this is just a good time. We're relaxing. Nothing big has happened for this game yet in a while.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
What brings you here?
Hi, Ryan.
I am here to talk to you here in Los Angeles, as well as on Facebook and the internet about Spider-Man, PlayStation 4. So excited.
Yes.
Gentlemen, please tell the audience what you do.
Okay, so I guess we'll go this
first.
way. So my name is Bill Roseman. I've been lucky enough to be working with Marvel since the early 90s. Helped write comics, edit comics, market comics. About 2.5 years ago, we kind of reassembled the Marvel Games team. I leaped out here, and one of the first things I heard about that we were making was this game, and I was totally psyched, and it feels, in a weird way, that my whole life's journey has brought me here today to work on this because I'm a true dyed-in-the-wool, love Spider-Man since I was in kindergarten. So as creative director, I just work with all of our partners, like our friends Insomniac, who are only 10 minutes away. So we go over there at least once a week and just help make our games authentically
15
Marvel.
minutes of traffic.
Yes.
Yeah, 15 minutes of traffic.
John, how about yourself?
I'm John Paquette. I'm the lead writer on Spider-Man PS4. I'm been in Insomniac for, I don't know, 8 years.
Yeah.
8 years. Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
Previous to this game, I worked on Sunset Overdrive, Ratchet & Clank, Resistance 3, and then I was at EA before that for many years.
You're also like my shrink.
I'm your shrink.
Yes,
yeah.
half time. Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Tahar. I'm the creative director at Insomniac working on Spider-Man. I've been at Insomniac for over 9 years now, thanks to Ryan Schneider for hiring me. He's back there. And like Bill, this is a dream come true to be actually sitting in front of you guys and be able to show you more of Spider-Man, something we've been at Insomniac really passionate about. So, and the reaction so far has been awesome. So we'll just start talking about the game.
Let's do it. So I've been a fan of Insomniac's for a while, from Ratchet & Clank to Sunset Overdrive, which one of my favorite games of the past couple years. And so when I first heard that we were teaming up together for Spider-Man, flipped. I legitimately lost it. Got really excited. Almost punched Bill in the face. Loving punch Bill in the face.
Oh,
but
that's how we show affection at Marvel.
Sealed the deal creatively working with Insomniac?
I think it was the
my smile.
Yeah, I was going to say it was the excellent variety of refreshments in your kitchenette. It's quite refreshing.
It's a great kitchen. Yeah.
So no, it's exactly what you talked about. All their heritage of the games they've worked on. When you talk about quality, when you talk about gameplay, when you talk about storytelling, and most importantly for a character such as Spider-Man, fun. A sense of fun and humor, and that sealed the deal, and we couldn't be happier to working with our friends at Insomniac.
Yeah. It's what just happened.
Whoa.
That's a celebration
We're
of how
so
fun
excited.
it is.
So pop the champagne.
Pop
I was
the
like,
champ.
all right.
Hey.
Stuff is exploding.
Perfect timing.
Brian, I've heard you tell this story before. It's kind of like a story of how parents meet, and it's like this wonderful story, like you tell people over and over again. But for the crowd here, for the crowd watching at home, what was your reaction? What did you do when you heard about this partnership?
All right. This is it's one of my favorite stories. So we were finishing up a game, and development's hard sometimes, and you can get a little blurry-eyed. And I was happening to walk near Ted's office. Ted Price is our CEO, and I said, "Hey, so what's going on?" He's like, "I had a really interesting conversation," and it was this idea of working with Sony and Marvel on a game, and my eyes just. And I was like, we got to do this. We got to do this. We have to. And then halfway through the conversation, I said, oh yeah, and I'd like to be the creative director on the project. And he was like, all right. And that was it. That was really it. What? This is that hot.
Spider-Man to the rescue!
That.
Oh, there it is.
Wow. This game is super hot. As you can tell, yeah. Don't worry about the fire. Woo. Okay, I'll back up for a second. So,
Yes, sir.
went to Ted's office, asked him to let's do this, creative director, and then the rest is, fast forward to today, and
And we're blowing things up.
we're catching things on fire, and yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, John, you're writing the game. You're working on the story for one of pop culture's most popular characters. What's that like? What's that feeling?
Well, kind of similar to Brian, I had a moment early on in this game. I was actually working on a scene from home, one of the first scenes that I wrote, and when I first typed Spider-Man into my computer, my hand started shaking, and I had to stop and go into the next room and tell my wife, I'm writing for Spider-Man, this is amazing, because, like everybody, I was a huge fan as a kid. I subscribed to all the Spider-Man comics that I could, and yeah, it's a privilege, but also, I hate to overuse the word responsibility, but I do feel like I have a responsibility as a storyteller to make sure that I do my best and we do our best as a team.
Yeah.
Guys, hold on. We're going to take a small break here just for a technical thing. We're going to go to a
Stanley
slate,
would say-
and we're going to...
Oh, thanks, bud.
That were you?
Thank you.
So, anything happen in the last 15 minutes or so? Seems pretty normal, chill stuff happened.
I'm Brian.
Okay, cool. Cool.
This one? Oops, thank you.
I want to thank the man in the Scarlet Spider costume out there for leaping into action.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Spidey.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thumbs up. Only you can prevent stage fires.
That's awesome.
All right, are we rolling? We're live. We're up again. So we had so much planned for you guys. You had no idea, but we're gonna cut
It was going to
short
be
now.
awesome.
One of the things we wanted to do was show the amazing gameplay that we debuted. Was that just last night?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So we want to show that, but also let these gentlemen talk a little bit about it, give you a little bit of a behind the scenes, like a commentary on the video so you can see the process behind it. So let's run that and we'll go from there.
I thought they were looking at me though.
Yes. Oh, look this way. Nice logo. Better logo. Kidding.
Whoa!
We kid.
What's going on
We kid because
I
we
got his
love.
back.
We kid because we love. Better, right? Right. At the street.
Fist
that sign?
instruction
Fist.
Storytelling.
and some guy.
Nice spider.
He must work
How many
out.
iterations of the costume have you guys gone through to reach this, what I think is really, really cool, really iconic and different?
A lot.
It took a few. Yeah, we did a
Yeah, I
big.
mean, I think we wanted something that definitely people understood. This is ours. This is our game. It stood out from other forms of comics, movies.
So when you
cartoons.
see him, you'd say, "That's Spider-Man from
Yeah.
Spider-Man PS4."
Yeah.
He's got a nice butt, too. We talked about
We
his
worked
nice-
on that for even
lot.
longer.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's true. The butt technology is fantastic. What happened? The butt was too much?
The butt is on fire. I like Spider-Man's butt, and I cannot lie.
We can skip ahead, or we can talk about logos again.
Let's go back a bit.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back. Let's experience it again.
What is the forget about it sign
Forget about
over
it.
there?
The pizza
we have
place.
we have a lot of
A lot
fun
of Easter
signage.
eggs throughout. Look to the signs, people. Whose construction?
Fisk.
Fisk.
So I think that's important to talk about at the beginning of the game. Spider-Man takes down Wilson Fisk.
That's right.
And
So,
a new threat emerges.
That's right. So as you see, when later when he's on the phone, you see Wilson Fisk in the orange, and you realize, oh my gosh, Spider-Man is taking down Fisk, and it creates power vacuum. Who steps in? The inner demons. Who are the inner demons? That's what the scene explores.
You're good, Bill.
Fine. But we really did think about the storytelling of this as we were going through. Is it clear? Do we know where the building is? That's why you get the Fisk sign. You get the names on the back of the workers, Fisk. So you know who they work for.
And I'd say for this section is really about showing that it's not just high intense action the whole time. Spider-Man can kind of manipulate the situation with his abilities, whether it's webbing guys up, using gadgets here like the web tripwire, which by the way, there's a lot of uses to that. Just shows that one way. But you can also, the cool thing is attach it to enemies, and if they're close together, they'll slam into each other. Or like some people do, they'll stick them to the wall, kick someone up in the air, and then while they're in the air, they get slammed into the ground. So.
And then using his environment, as we just saw, using the crane, slamming it into the demons.
Environment action is a really big emphasis for us.
In the testing that you guys have just been doing internally and playing around with it, have you seen uses of the gadgets of the environment that you didn't even really think of?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little, as we got ready for E3, we kind of we had tryouts to see who was going to demo the game, because we have a couple different areas we're playing the game, and people would play it, and then we would review the videos, and you had to make the cut list, right? And some guys and some people just made awesome videos, oh, you can do this? So it was really cool to see people inside the studio experiment and try different things. So we were really
and those of us
excited.
who aren't as good at the game
talk about it.
Yeah, when we see these other people play it, we're like, man, how do you do it? Show me how you do that. That kind of thing.
It just goes to show you how improvisational Spider-Man's fighting style can be, and how you can be as Spider-Man.
And one thing we talk about, we want people who
on the phone
just pick up the game and play, feel powerful like Spider-Man, but want that extra level of stuff that you can do to really feel creative and really master the game.
So there's Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. the Kingpin. You may have enjoyed his exploits in Netflix Daredevil. In our story, he's been put away. And again, here's us four stepping in. And Spider-Man now must figure out what's going on, who these people are.
Yeah. And one thing is, we're showing, him saving just one guy, two guys in this demo. The actual mission has him actually exploring this entire area for more Fisk men he has to save. So it's actually a much bigger mission in the final version.
And we just saw a moment ago him using the girder to take them out. Again, Spider-Man's always using his environment.
And he would never let anybody fall to their doom, so he pulls them back.
That's right.
Yeah, that's an important part.
One of the lessons Bill Roseman has taught us.
You cannot knock anyone off the building.
Yep.
So they were careful to make him web the guy, pull him back on. Here's the Heavy.
So I think one thing about the Heavy, the Bruiser that we call, I think it's a good thing is that people say, how are you going to make the game challenging? Because you're a superhero, you want to feel powerful, but we want enemies that challenge Spider-Man. The negative powers that he's imbued with allow us to have enemy classes that are really challenging you, force to mix up your strategy like he's doing here. And you're going to see that throughout the entire game and see more different types of inner demons as you play the game.
Yeah, the inner demons, for those of you who know the comics, writer Dan Slott and many amazing artists have, put years of story behind these characters, who we're going to see shortly. Martin Lee, he's tied to Feast, which we can see on the show floor.
I want to talk about something because I know Bill's going to talk about it, but I want to sound smarter for him than one time. All right, so there is a reason why Pete says Martin Lee instead of Mr. Negative, because he knows that Martin Lee is Aunt May's boss, because Aunt May works at the Feast shelters that Martin Lee started.
That's right.
So, one thing we talked a lot about, actually it was the first conversation we ever had with Bill, was the best Spider-Man stories are when Spider-Man's world and Peter's world collide. And Martin Lee's a great example of that, and which is one of the reasons why we love the idea of Mr. Negative, because the inner demons are awesome. They're great enemies to fight, but Martin Lee brings that human story, that Peter story that he can collide with Spider-Man. So it's something really, really important to us. How did I do?
You get an official no prize. Yeah, Mr. Negative is a villain that a lot of people don't know about, but really, our attitude at Marvel and Marvel Games now is we're going to use our games to help spotlight and elevate characters that you may have not seen before. So it will be a mix of characters that like the Kingpin, but we want to take someone like Mr. Negative and really put the spotlight on him and show everyone why he is so cool. He's a villain that's only been in he's been invented about 6 years ago, so he's only been in a handful of comics really in the history of Marvel. But this game is really going to put the spotlight on him, and he's going to become one of your favorite villains.
And I think we've only really scratched the surface of his story that we're saying in here. I mean, there's some subtle hints here and there, but his story's pretty complex when we dig into it.
Speaking of complex, this sequence, we missed some of, like, my favorite. I think the first time I saw it, I was like, what is even happening? When you're going on the crane and all those things, like, it's mind-blowing. What was that sequence like?
Well, we have an amazing animation team, and one of the things that we do a lot at Insomniac is iterate. We try out ideas, we see what works, and that is through the collaboration of a lot of people, a lot of ideas. That's what comes out of that. Another example of that is we don't have the audio on, but there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of stuff that Spider-Man is saying in here. And we actually wrote like over 400 lines, for this mission. We're actually only using about 40 of them, But that's another example of, you got to iterate to make sure you get the voice right, make sure, you're getting the tone right. Spider-Man is a guy who, he likes to have fun, but he's also in precarious situations. So, it's a fine line to try to get that right.
Hey, Ryan, I think they're flashing saying go to Q&A.
Oh, but look, Spider-Man's butt. We've got so much more butt. Let's let this play behind us. We'll keep going with that. Q&A, we've got some stuff coming in from the Facebooks. We've got Matthew Tharoff asked a question about sort of the openness of this game, the cityscape. And I think we've seen some of like Spider-Man traversing the terrain, going completely vertical. What does the city look like for Spidey?
Yeah, some people, if I was watching the reactions like at 3 o'clock in the morning last night because I want to see what everybody thought, and when I heard some like, oh, is that a linear experience? It's like, no, our world is very open to explore, and it's, it wouldn't feel like a Spider-Man game if we didn't have a massive Manhattan for you to swing through. So you're definitely going to be able to swing around this section of the city and more with all the freedom you want.
Yeah. There's a question in here from a Garrett Merciel. Wants to see, there's a question from Angelina Montanari, asks, what other characters will we see from Spider-Man's world? And I think even in this sequence, we see as Spidey is swinging through, he's saving everyone's lives. He's also taking a phone call.
Yeah.
He's taking a phone call with a Captain...
That's Captain Yuri Watanabe, another character who is fairly new to the Spider-Man mythos, and she is his contact on the police force.
Yep.
And again, we wanted to do that mission, that mix of longtime familiar faces, and also introduce some new characters to you that Spider-Man interacts with.
The cast is really big. All right, I mean, we're not these are the characters we're talking about today, but you'll see. I mean, I remember Bill and I were doing a presentation a couple weeks ago, and we were walking our way through the story, and I came back to talk to John, and I was like, John, this is a really big game. It's a really big story, and this really just scratching the surface. And I think, as Bill said, it's a healthy collection of like characters you really love and know, and ones that we're introducing you to. Like,
and here's our stinger.
Almost on cue.
Wow.
Speaking of characters that you know, who's that? Miles. Miles Morales, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Also in the game. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's such a great last moment of that video. Last question we're going to pull in is from Sofian Rahim asking, what are the swinging options like? What is the traversal through using his webs and that throughout the city? Is there boosting? Like, you see some of that as you're going through. What's that?
So a couple things. So we knew that nailing the swinging was integral to making a Spider-Man game. It had, and that's the fantasy, right? That's one of the largest parts of the fantasy. So, we wanted to do it justice, and obviously physics-based. Webs do attach to the buildings. That's a big question that everybody asks. But at the same time, we wanted to expand his moveset, and you saw some of that. Remember, we're talking about a Peter Parker who's 23 years old. He's been doing it for 8 years. And for our game, we want to keep up that momentum, that fluidity, and make sure there's no obstacle that he can't overcome. So you saw some of the parkour elements that we've added. And while we showed that in an interior section, that same system applies to if he's on a rooftop, if he's on the ground, he can leap, jump, and just keep on going. We really want to push that sense that he's mastered that ability to.
And there is player skill involved in that as well. Like in this playthrough, you saw that the player kept up with the helicopter, but you need some skill in order to do that, and you can lose the helicopter if you're not good.
Yeah, as we're doing the demos for E3, I'm working with our producer Scott, and he's been playing the game, and every single time I'm like, oh, please don't fail, please don't fail. I mean, you have to keep up with that helicopter, and there's different ways to keep up with it and manipulate the environment to catch up to it.
Very nice. All right, so we want to where we can find you guys on social media. I think we have a little slide here. You can bug us, ask all the questions you want, all the requests, send them directly to Brian and Bill. They're already getting them, guys. They're getting
Follow
so
us,
many.
like us, send us questions. I want to say one last thing. This, as you can tell, this game is made by fans for the fans. So we are with you. We love Spider-Man just as much as you do. Thank you for your support. Thank you for coming with us on this journey. The best is yet to come. Thwip.
I love Bill Roseman so much. He is the best. These guys are wonderful. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, John. Thank you, E3 Coliseum. Enjoy your next panel.